Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a special edition of Dark Power, where we are going to be talking about When Our Shadows Fall. A not horrible pay-per-view. Not horrible pay-per-view, that's one way to put it. But, when we're talking about, when we came in with expectations, sometimes those expectations are exceeded, sometimes they don't match up with them. This one kind of actually met the expectations because I didn't have too many high hopes for this pay-per-view, but they kind of surprised me in some. However, that being said, this is still one of the worst pay-per-view names that ever was created for a pay-per-view. But, guys, it can't be just any episode of Dark Power. Like I said, it's got to be a special episode because this is a pay-per-view, and when you have a special episode, that means you gotta do something special for the episode. And there were a bunch of tag matches on this one, so I thought, who better to call in than my Fusion of Honor tag team partner, especially when you consider, this is basically a round table in a certain sense, and he has some kind of connection to being a rebel when it comes to round tables. None other than the three-time baby-making champ. This is Ness, sir. How are you doing this evening?
Doing mighty fine. Yes. Thank you for having me on. I'm honored to once again grace the Dark Power audience. And again, it was not a horrible show. It was fairly decent. There was some highs, definitely some lows, and we will get into that. But overall, it was pretty decent.
For sure, guys. And as always, remember to hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe, and tell us what you thought were the highs and the lows in those comments. We always look forward to seeing what you guys think and all the feedback that you guys give us. We appreciate all of it. So let's get into it, guys. We kind of got a rundown of the matches and the order that they were going to happen. We knew coming into this what to kind of expect when in the order of matches. We know we're getting that main event. I thought they would put the women's title match towards a little bit more of the middle to give a little bit of spacing because it really was kind of a two-match show. But Billy decided to go like back to back with co-main event style. So starting us off, we have a four-way tag team match. We have Marsh Rocket and Slice Bookie taking on Rudo and Sol Renaro, taking on The End, taking on La Rebelión Amarilla. And I gotta say, I felt as though Chris did a good job in this match. I just want to start off with love. Chris did some good stuff in this match, but this was a bit of a chaotic mess. This match had some very good moments, though. I gotta say, one thing that this match definitely exacerbated for me was the classic everybody stands on the outside while one guy does the dive spot. Like it's already a little overplayed out these days, but to do it not once, not twice, but like 3, 4, 5, 6, and then tease it even more with different people, that was a bit much for me. But La Rebelión Amarilla, Bestia 666, and Mecha Wolf from AAA, they pick up the win. I'm pretty sure if it is a long-term thing, somehow Rocky Romero's involved. So, Ness, what did you think about this one?
This was a good start, in my opinion. I'm all for this. This was Lucha Rules. I'm all for that. Another multi-man, multi-tag team car crash. Once again, I'm all for that. I got to get familiar with some people that I'm not really familiar with in the end. They brought the power to the match. I don't want to say the name wrong, but I'll just say their names. Mecha Wolf and Bestia 666. They brought the high flying, the luchador aspect to the match. Chris G, aka Slice Boogie, and what's the guy's name?
Marsh Rocket.
Marsh Rocket. Yeah. I was already familiar with Slice Boogie, but the Marsh Rocket guy, that was another one that
reminds you a little bit of Shelton Benjamin, right?
Yeah, a lot actually. And then there was Rudo and I don't want to say this guy's name wrong. Was Rudo's partner
Sol
Solving
He's
art.
kind of the Santino Marella of the
Yeah.
NWA.
Yeah. So it's like everybody brought their own thing. Like these guys were, were there for the entertainment, and then we had the luchadors from within the guys from AAA. Then we had just like the brawlers and Slice Boogie and Marsh Rocket, and then you had the powerhouses in the end. So everybody played up on their strength, and it was a really fun match, like a nice little opener. Doing ratings.
Sure, if you want to.
Yeah, I give the opener, I give it like a 2 3/4 stars. I think it was fun. It had me entertained. So at the end of the day, once the show just getting started, and then even just having Mecha Wolf and Bestia 666 going on to win, these guys are, outside of the company coming in for whoever knows, like if it's a one-off, if this is a secured partnership. It was just nice to actually have the guys outside of the company go over, and then the post match with them facing off with the end, that like this might not be the end that we see these guys in NWA. So it's always nice playing some little seeds and having things to go off from there on. So yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, so this match, I give this one. I think I'm agreeing with you. 2 3/4. That's a nice field. Not exactly a 3-star
Yeah.
match, but more than a 2.5-star match. And what I liked about this one was everybody got spots in. Everybody had moments. It didn't feel as though the match dragged. You had 8 participants. This match goes 8 minutes and 45 seconds. Feels like the right amount of time. Now, in comparison, our next match has 2
God.
participants and goes 10 minutes, 10.5 minutes.
And it definitely dragged for me. It definitely
It
dragged.
definitely dragged. Now, during the rundown of this match, we find out that this is not a NWA TV title match. On the last episode of Dark Power, I thought that it was. At the time, it was hinted that it would be a TV title match, considering everything that's been going on between Tyrus and Pope. But this turns out to just be a grudge match. And this one, this is hard. As my Fusion of Honor co-host, Ness knows my hatred of LA Park, and Tyrus is by far the LA Park of NWA. If the two of them ever had a match together, I don't know what I would do. I would probably have to pull a drunk guy JJ and a Richie and tell Sid that I'm resigning from my show if they ever had a match against each other. Rocky Romero, if you are listening, don't do this. Don't find a way to put them against each other with your ability to puppet string matches together. But this was I liked it. I liked it for showing the resiliency of Pope. I'll say that much. That part of it was really good. Pope is somebody who is probably the top babyface in the NWA, either 1A or 1B to me, with Aaron Stevens. I know Trevor Murdoch is slowly on the rise, at least now for me. But Pope is definitely that guy, and that's kind of what you want. You want, if you're gonna have a heel champion, you kind of want a face mid-card champion, and more importantly, when you want a heel champion like Nick Aldis, who does nothing but win and dominate and cheat, you want to have somebody that the folks can cheer for and root for, and that is Pope. So in this match, I think Pope did a really good job. However, it could not get that high of a rating for me when you have Fox News analyst Tyrus as part of this match. So I'm giving this one 1.5 stars. I feel bad for you, Pope. You deserve better. What do you think of this one, Ness?
1.5 stars is exactly what I was going to give it, and it's solely, I don't want to say solely because of Pope, because that would be disrespectful to Pope. But yeah, 1.5 stars. This match definitely dragged. He did the best he could to try to make Tyrus look good, and that's a feat of epic proportions in itself, because this dude's clearly gassed as soon as the match starts. I don't know, man. It was just, I don't like Tyrus either. Like it's not even just the whatever he does outside of wrestling, because if he was actually a good wrestler or at least entertaining to watch, I could put that to the side. And I can't, because it's just like it was just like forcing him to look dominant and to look good in this match. So that's why I'm giving the props to Pope, because he sold for him very well. He made it seem like Tyrus was this big threat, which he definitely does not look like that. Like he doesn't have
it's
the
crazy. It's
yeah.
crazy that somebody who at least had the athleticism to do the "somebody call your mama" dance about 10 years ago. I mean, I guess yeah, because it's 10 years. That's a long time. But now, dude, like comes out like they do the like comes out through the curtains, and he's already like sweating worse than Brock Lesnar.
Bro, oh my God! And then, like when he was talking about the fund or the charity fund or whatever, and he's like gas talking about that and just like all out of breath and shit. And I'm just like, oh,
it's crazy that was probably like the highlight of the segment as a whole. Like pre-match, match, and post-match. That's the highlight of him telling Pope, "I'm taking over your charity." Like that's the highlight of this one.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, and I don't want to say the whole thing was bad, because, like I said, Pope, he had his moments that actually made the match entertaining once he got his second win going, and then, like I said, his selling to make it look like Tyrus is actually better than what he actually is. But yeah, I gotta agree, 1.5 stars. Wish I could have gave you more, Pope.
Well, after this, guys, business picks up a bit because we have another tag team match. We have this one felt weird on paper. The execution of it was a lot better than what I thought on paper, considering, but we have Kylie Rae teaming up with Taryn Terrell to take on Melina and Thunder Rosa. Now, let's just do a quick recap here. Storyline-wise, Melina and Thunder Rosa don't really like each other. Then Melina became apologetic when Powerrr came back on, and they seemed as though they buried the hatchet because they have a mutual enemy in Camille. Meanwhile, Camille has been using the services or help of Taryn Terrell, who is a heel. Now we find out during the match that Kylie Rae has signed with the NWA, but Kylie Rae is a dyed-in-the-wool, born and bred babyface who naturally has the crowd chanting for her. So having her in a match with the heel against this kind of a team just feels wrong on paper. But interestingly, they're able to make it work by playing off of Kylie's babyface nature and her trusting nature with Taryn's manipulations and Taryn's willingness to kind of be like, no, you got this. Like, you be in the ring, you take care of this, and trying to get away from Thunder Rosa. Now, again, considering that the Thunder Rosa and Kylie Rae was going to be a singles match the day before at Warrior Wrestling, and they had to cancel that match because of Thunder Rosa's prior NWA commitments, I feel as though we got cheated in some way. However, the finish of this match involves Taryn and Thunder Rosa getting into it, and Thunder Rosa kind of carting Taryn Terrell off, and Kylie is able to get a surprise roll-up on Melina, pinning her, and it works because what they're doing, and it's smart, is they teased us with just enough Thunder Rosa and Kylie Rae in the ring together that you want to see that singles match. And while, yes, you could watch it on Warrior Wrestling, the majority of people are going to be able to see it on NWA. And it creates a natural, great way to have a potential #1 contenders match down the road for whoever wins between Serena Deeb and Camille. So overall, because of how well it actually ended up working, I gave this one 2 3/4 as well as from the opener. And I think NWA was just like, look, maybe we made a mistake with this Tyrus Pope match. Let's just try to get this out of the way and just get on to the good stuff. So Ness, what did you think about this one?
I actually gave this a flat 3, a straight 3. I think it was a very good. The like you just touched on, the aspect of this match was you got Melina and Thunder Rosa, pretty much the faces in this match. Taryn Terrell being the heel. Now here's Kylie Rae, where we know her as a natural born babyface, But in this match, she was, like you said, being pretty much manipulated by Taryn Terrell, even when it came down to the finish, because if I'm not mistaken, that she grabbed the tights on Melina when she went for the roll up. So that's already character development that we don't see or not used to seeing out of Kylie. Now it's like, oh, wow, she's not supposed to do that. Where are they going to go with this from here? And the actual match, definitely way better than what I saw in the previous match in Tyrus and the Pope. That's why I gave it the little extra quarter star and bumped it up. But again, they had the in-ring content from definitely Kylie Ray, who pretty much worked this match by herself for the most part. Even just the character development outside of it, just like you said, Taryn Terrell, just saying, oh, yeah, you got it. Not wanting to get in the ring or mix it up with Thunder Rosa or Melina. But then when she finally did get in with Thunder Rosa, they pull off, they go off. Thunder Rosa pretty much carries her out. And then the finish happens. Kylie Ray picks up the win with a questionable way to get a win. So again, like, you get all types of seeds planted. Again, we could possibly get Thunder Rosa versus Kylie Ray finally. And like you said, that'll get more eyes on it than seeing it or it happening in Warriors of Wrestling, because now you're on a national stage with the NWA. So I give these a solid 3. Great job on all the ladies. They played their parts very well.
Absolutely. And now after this, we have an incredibly good match. Really, really good match. This is Fred Rosser taking on JTG, who is making his NWA debut. Kylie Ray made her NWA debut the previous match. Now we have JTG making his NWA debut. And this was kind of a surprise announcement. We had no real idea that JTG was going to be in the NWA. Just as the two guys from AAA, we don't know if this is a long-term thing or not, or if it was just a one-off for the pay-per-view. But either way, I'm glad, like, just as how I gotta give Billy shit for horrible pay-per-view names and having Tyrus, I also give him credit where credit is due, and this was a very, very good selection for matches and for participants. This was a nice one. This goes 9.5 minutes, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like these guys went like maybe 12 and could have gone longer if they had the opportunity. But this was a really solid match that had some nice twists and turns. It's No Days Off Fred Rosser coming out, trying to prove himself, trying to prove that he can be the guy in the NWA. And it's JTG's that level of and it's not to take anything away from Fred Rosser, but it's a level of veteranship almost, that he just has a presence in the ring. He knows what he's doing. Also, I mean, it's not too shabby that it seems like he's doing kind of a Killmonger impersonation. Yeah. But all of that wrapped together, this was a really solid match. I think this is going to probably be my match of the night. I gave this one 3.5 stars. Ness, what'd you think?
Yeah, I actually have to agree with that. 3.5 stars. This was a great match. A lot of back and forth action. As you guys know, we review Ring of Honor as well. This had a Ring of Honor feel, in my opinion. You can tell that these guys both wanted to win, but there was the respect there. The respect aspect of this match is what really gave me the opinion of it being me being so high on it, because both these guys brought it. A lot of back and forth action, a lot of brawling. Neither are really like anything outside of like just brawling, but there was wrestling as well, like just a lot of wrestling moves. But they're not the high flyers, they're not really technicians, so to speak, but when they had to turn it up a notch, they did. And I enjoyed this match very well. It was, like you said, Fred Rosser trying to prove himself and make a statement versus a debuting JTG and him trying to make a statement as well. So it was just like, who really wanted it more? And, kayfabe aside, I don't think it would have been a good idea for JTG to debut on pay-per-view and take a loss. So I think that was the proper way of this match happening. So kudos to both these guys. I have to agree. This might quite possibly be my match of the night as well.
Yeah, this one was a good one, and I really hope that we get to see JTG hang around in the NWA for a while. he will be a guy, if Pope ever loses that TV title to a heel, he will be a guy who will be right there, ready and willing to take it, especially now that the national championship is vacated, which let's get to that. So we have now our tag title match. Now, this is Aaron Stevens and Kratos defending against the War Kings, Crimson and Jack Stane, and Strictly Business Tom Latimer and Chris Adonis. Chris Adonis, our former NWA national champion, he vacated the title at Nick Aldis's request in order to get into this battle royal that would help determine who is going to be facing Nick at this pay-per-view. Nick was pulling out all the stops to try to keep Trevor Murdoch out of the battle royal, but the story was that Billy Corrigan said no current champions can be in the battle royal. So Nick said, "Hey, Adonis, you're gonna lose that national title in order to get into this battle royal to protect me from Trevor Murdoch." It doesn't work out for him.
However, so I just vacated my title for nothing. Thanks, Nick.
However, Nick keeps saying, I didn't make him do it. Strictly Business is kind of like a family, and he knew I needed a little bit of backup. So he did the brotherly thing. But also the brotherly thing was that Nick kind of in exchange was able to force a tag title match here for Strictly Business. So here we have Aaron Stevens and Kratos, who are having serious problems with each other for months now, ever since they started this slow turn of Aaron Stevens turning him face. It happened after the real life passing of one of his best friends, Josephus ? He passed away, and after that, they kind of decided that when NWA came back for the attack, the show would be dedicated to Josephus, to the ? And Aaron Stevens who was his former tag partner, would have a title shot against Nick Aldis. And since that title shot, Aaron Stevens has been on the journey of becoming a face. Now, because he could not find ? Back at the end of last year, he hired the mercenary JR Kratos to be his tag partner, and they win the title. So we already know Kratos is only in it for the title and for the money. And so we've been seeing these problems between the two of them, and the problems are kind of exacerbated even further in this match, because we have Aaron Stevens basically getting his ass handed to him for the entire match. And no fault to Kratos in a sense. Kratos kind of gets injured kind of early on. He's working an injury. So there is a lot of pressure on Stevens to be the guy to carry the match for the champions. And that's how you make a babyface. That's how you, especially when you're in there with a team that is definitely a heel with Strictly Business, and a team that can work as heels in the form of the War Kings. Aaron Stevens basically just gets ragdolled around the ring for, this is 14 minutes and 10 seconds. I'll say 13 minutes and 10 seconds. He basically gets ragdolled around the ring. It feels like that, and you really actually feel bad for Aaron Stevens, and it's why, to me, with Pope, he is like a 1A, 1B when it comes to the top baby faces in the NWA. But this match turns when Kratos is able to, I will say, use some shenanigans to make sure that they are able to retain the tag titles. But I gave this one about 3 stars. Ness, what'd you think?
Yeah, I gave this match about 3 stars. It was another, not so much of a car crash multi-man tag match, but the story there was great, and how the team of the champions being dysfunctional as hell. You got 2 other teams vying for these tag titles, and the War Kings, they're a well-oiled machine. Strictly Business, they're a well-oiled machine. The fact that those 2 teams work together over Aaron Stevens and JR Kratos, who were clearly having problems, like just problems amongst each other. Then Kratos, like, he has his knee worked over in this match. Aaron Stevens is getting his ass kicked pretty much the majority of this whole match. But again, it's in the fact that they pretty much were the true baby faces in this match. So there was another like feel good moment that needed to happen on this card, and in my opinion, this was it. With Kratos at the end of it, I like the finish of this match. He goes for the low blow, when the ref doesn't see it, much of a heel tactic that as that is, doing that on other heels makes it even greater for you as a babyface. So that worked out very well. But I think the fact that these guys were having, they were bumping heads so much, and then Kratos is just, starting to come around, like cheering on for Stevens during the match is going on. He's like, yo, we can do this. We can do it. We can do it. That led to the finish being so great that, they were up against two great teams that actually are cohesive, and they were still, a little rocky. Now this can be a starting point for them to actually start gelling and be a well-oiled machine within themselves. So once again, a solid 3. It was a great match, and I'm going to be looking out for the progression of Aaron Stevens and J.R. Kratos as they continue to be NWA tag team champions.
Yeah, I'm anticipating that they will kind of look as though they're able to gel together. Something bad's going to happen, and then because of miscommunication, Stevens will they'll lose the title, and that will be when Stevens transitions to face Aldis again. And I think Stevens is going to be the guy who actually beats Aldis for the title and ends this 700-day.
Yeah, it's been a while.
They had the what was it? Cody beats Aldis at All In 2018, and then I think it was 2 months later at the anniversary show. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match, and that was when Camille debuts, because Aldis's thought process was the part of the reason why I lost at All In was because Brandy was there. So now I want that insurance policy. So at that event, he wins. And since then, 2018, Nick Aldis has not lost that title. so
Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah, just an incredible run. But when we talk about why he's had that run, it's that insurance policy. It is Camille. And Camille has grown leaps and bounds, gotten a lot better. She still has a ways to go. That spear still looks a little. It's there are people out there with worse spears, but there are people out there with a lot better. And she's got to just watch compilations of spears or something. I don't know, but they have slowly given us. This is one thing that I love about the NWA is long-term storytelling. First, they started her off as just his insurance policy. Then she started to be somebody who was just getting more and more involved, but she never spoke. And then eventually she speaks. Eventually she has a first match. Eventually she gets to the point of just showing how powerful and dominant she is, that she's beating Thunder Rosa on pay-per-view to become the #1 contender to the NWA Women's Championship against Serena Deeb. And that's the match that we find ourselves having. AEW's Serena Deeb having this match against Camille. Serena Deeb coming off of an injury that had her on the shelf for a little while. They had to drag out the Camille Thunder Rosa storyline kind of because of that, because Camille couldn't get into the ring with Deeb. Deeb comes back, has the match against Riho at Double or Nothing, the pre-show. That match was incredible. And Deeb has shown that she is a working woman's wrestler. She is a really phenomenal. She's very underrated in my book. One of the best women's wrestlers on the planet to me. And part of the reason is she knows how to sell. Her ability to sell is incredible. And when you're in the ring with somebody who is quite literally called the Brick House Camille, you need to be able to sell. And it's no joke. It's not joke. It's no surprise that both of Camille's best matches have come against Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb, because this match is incredibly well done, well paced, 14 minutes and 18 seconds. I think it's the longest match on the card, but it feels as though it earned it. It feels as though it was right where it was supposed to be. Serena Deeb is trying so hard during this match to face off against Camille. She's trying chop the big man down. She's trying to chop Camille down. She's got that babyface fire momentum behind her, but no matter what she does, that power, like Samoa Joe's power game from up, up, down, down is too strong because Camille, after 14 minutes and 18 seconds, is finally able to put Serena Deeb away. We have a new NWA Women's Champion. It is Camille from Strictly Business, and this was a well thought out match because of how well they used Serena Deeb's recovery from the injury to the leg. That's what caused her to be out for so long, and they kind of re-injure it. They have her work work the match kind of injured throughout the match. Camille does a great job, and I mean, I was looking forward to this match more than the main event, and this one did not disappoint. If it wasn't, it's funny that I have to give this one to Camille because I think I did it as well for Back for the Attack. I might have, but if not for that Fred Rosser JTG match, this would be my match of the night. This one is 3 1/4. Ness, what do you think?
Yeah, also 3 1/4, man. We're on point. Yeah, I definitely give this 3 1/4, man. I think this might have been one of Camille's best showing that I've seen in the ring for her. She looked good here, and not only was it Serena Deeb selling, because of course that definitely played a major part in it. I think she's just got overall better at this point in the ring. She definitely used her power. That's her, that's her thing. That's her gimmick. And the way that she moved around the ring and the psychology she used in this match and how she was attacking Serena Deeb, just using these blows and just power over someone that's smaller than her. It looked really well, on top of the fact of Serena Deeb selling. Then, like you said, she had the little baby face comeback where it looked like she might retain, but then, it came down to the finish where it's like, no, Camille's been waiting for this for such a long time. I'm not leaving without the NWA Women's title. And she made good on that promise, and that's exactly what happened. So I want to see where she goes in her run. I don't want to, do the cliche of comparing. She looked as dominant as I'll say China, because that's the vibes I get from her. And out of this match, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, yeah, from the last time I seen her, you can see she was a little green. With this match, she definitely stepped it up a lot. Of course, there's things she can work on, but overall, I think she's where she should be now. Like, she's starting to hit her stride, and I think as she has this title and goes on for a reign, I think she's going to come into her own and finally be like one of the staples in the women's division in NWA, and quite possibly at somewhere down the line get on the level of Serena Deeb and the Thunder Rosa. But she just needs the experience and just the more matches and more in-ring prowess over the while. But I hope this is where it starts, because she definitely looked very good in this match.
One thing that I think will help her is if Billy Corgan continues the relationship with AEW and we see NWA women's title matches on AEW programming as we have in the past with Rosa, with Deeb, now hopefully Camille. She has a wide range of people to test herself against and to learn from. And even though she's still very green, and the person I'm about to say is even greener than she is, I want to see Camille Jade Cargill down the road. That one's gonna be good. Especially I mean maybe a year from now when they both have a lot more matches under their belt, particularly Jade Cargill. Yeah. But that is something that we can definitely potentially look forward to. Thank you, Rocky Romero. Now that leaves us with one match to talk about. It is our main event. This is the story of Trevor Murdoch trying to overcome obstacle after obstacle. So many obstacles, still can't lose any weight. I don't understand it. Just something, man. Do something. But this storyline has been kind of brewing for a while. We see Trevor Murdoch. He at Back for the Attack, he gets the national title basically stolen from him by Chris Adonis. He then says, you know what? I'm not as mad as I am at Adonis. I'm mad at the guy who's controlling the leash. I'm mad at Aldis. I want to go after Aldis. Aldis lives up to his name of being the dealer. He puts choices in front of you. You pick. It's not him. You pick. You pick your poison. He gives Murdoch an option. He says, "Look, you can get a match against Adonis, and if you win, you can face me." Oh, sorry, no, it's tag match. If you win, you can face me. Not even face me for the title. You can just face me, and then if you win that, you'll get a title shot.
Yeah.
But if you lose, you have to take a 30-day unpaid leave of absence suspension. And of course, he loses. Now, it's just so happens, and it's very convenient that right after he loses, NWA announces that in 1 month's time, there's going to be a battle royal that determines who's going to face Nick Aldis at When Our Shadows Fall. So it was a little telegraphed, but hey, those are the things that we have to deal with sometimes. But either way, Murdoch wins the battle royale. We get this match. And I gotta say, this was not horrible in the sense of, I was not expecting that much. Trevor Murdoch has never been that good, great of a wrestler. He's never been that technical, which was why I was laughing in my head when I think it was Tim Storm said that Trevor Murdoch was a very technical wrestler. I was like, Tim, what are you doing? What are you saying, man? He's much more of a brawler. He has slowed down a step, but he still has a certain fire and presence in the ring. Then on the other side, you have Nick Aldis, who, Nick Aldis is the guy for a reason. He's got the presence. He's got the in-ring acumen. These are two men, as the storyline said multiple times. They repeated and told us multiple times. These are two men who were both trained by Harley Race and follow in those footsteps of that man. Murdoch was able to cut the best promo of his life when he won the Battle Royale and said that the biggest pain in his life was Harley Race not being alive to be able to see him face off against Aldis to potentially hold the title that Harley Race himself once held. And I would say he made Harley proud in this match because it was a very well worked match. It had that NWA old school feel to it. A part of me was just like, how are they going to keep the title on Nick? That's honestly part of the thing that I look forward to now. How are they going to find a way that they keep the title on Nick? And this didn't disappoint because the way this match works with the finish is Tom Latimer comes out with a chair to kind of get into the ring and potentially hit Murdoch. The ref is distracted by this and doesn't notice that Nick gets into the ring himself with a chair. Now, you might expect Nick to beat Trevor Murdoch with the chair because that's what makes sense. But Nick is the dealer. Nick is actually smart. He hits the referee with the chair in the back. Because in his mind, he's thinking, well, when the ref comes to, he'll disqualify me and I'll retain the title. But lo and behold, that doesn't happen. And by the time the ref actually comes to, Murdoch has Aldis in Aldis's own Kingsland Cloverleaf submission hold. But the ref, because he's an idiot, doesn't realize that it was Nick who hit him and thinks because Trevor is the one on top, so to speak, in the match right now, that it had to have been Murdoch who hit him because he couldn't see because he doesn't have eyes in the back of his head. So what happens? In a hilarious twist of fate, not only does Trevor Murdoch not win the belt, he also loses the match. Because he's the one who gets disqualified, not Aldis. So he doesn't get the title, and he's the loser double time. In that moment, I was like, this man might actually be a babyface because now I feel bad for him. It really wasn't his fault. He did everything he was supposed to do. So I gave this one 3 stars because I felt as though it could have gone a little bit longer. I felt as though the match itself it wasn't anything too crazy, but that finish actually
But
saved it in a way from what it could have been or really should have been. But Ness, what do you think about this one?
yeah, I gave this 3 stars. I would have gave it more, but I thought the finish. It, I'm conflicted on the finish because I think it kind of made sense, but also it was kind of stupid. So like, and I just like because when Aldis hits the ref with the chair and he falls out of the ring, I want to say that the ref possibly could have seen who it was when the way he was falling out of the ring. I don't know. Who knows? He might have been knocked out. He could have been unconscious. I'll give him that. But the way that he fell out of the ring going forward and then like pretty much doing like a tuck and roll type of thing, you can see who was standing behind you and who hit you with the chair. But, that's neither here nor there. The match itself was very good. A lot of good psychology going on. I like the fact that, like how Aldis was working the back of Murdoch. Like he was really like just slamming him on his back, just attacking his back. And when Murdoch did get his his offense in, it felt very babyface like he deserved to go on and get this win. But obviously it didn't work out this way. So now I just kind of want to see not even after that, the post match with Murdoch talking about, I do everything right. Like I just keep getting screwed. I also felt very bad for him. I'm like, damn, man, that kind of sucks. Like he has all the reasoning to want to be NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Like you said, he's been putting all this work to get there. Both these guys were trained by Harley Race. Ironically, both taking either side of the legacy of Harley Race, one being the heel, one being the babyface at the time. But then even with Velvet Sky on commentary saying like, oh, I'm welling up. I got tears in my eyes because I generally feel bad for Trevor Murdoch. And like, that's kind of how I felt watching the match. Like, Aldis was just being a dick to the ref to begin with. So I don't know how from the beginning of the match, and he like literally put his hands on the ref and pushed him, and those guys are going back and forth. It somewhere got lost in translation by the end of the match, whereas, the ref thinks that Trevor Murdoch hit him with the chair or did whatever that, the match deserved to be ended with a disqualification. And then even with the ref, walking out with all this, I'm just like, all right, there's a lot of confusion here, but nonetheless, the one thing I wasn't confused about was the how I felt towards Trevor Murdoch, because again, that was like, I don't know if that's what they were going for, which pretty much they were. The babyface was actually getting over as a babyface, despite despite the finish and how we feel about the finish. They pretty much got what they wanted us to get. The heel got the heat, and the babyface has the sympathy. That's wrestling 101. Despite how they did it, you got the reaction that you wanted. Even Tim Storm and I don't know the other guy on commentary.
Joe Galley.
Joe Galley, like they were all pretty much saying like, this isn't right. This is how you do it. They sold it well. Like the execution was one thing. Again, we could go either way with that, but Trevor Murdoch and then the commentary team really sold this for me. And I'm like, man, I feel bad for this guy. I might not think a lot of Trevor Murdoch, as a wrestler, like definitely not a technician like Tim Story was trying to say. Very much a brawler. But at the end of the day, I really had sympathy for this guy, and he really sold it. So I don't know. I hope he gets another shot, kayfabe wise, because it's pretty fucked up the way how this match ended. So I mean, solid 3 stars. I definitely would have given more if the finish wasn't as discombobulated, for lack of a better term, so to speak. But overall, I really enjoyed the match up until the confusion with the finish.
It's really funny because like they've gone on record multiple times saying how horrible of a human being like Nick Aldis is and how he does all these bad things. And the ref's like, who possibly could have hit me with the chair? The asshole or the guy who's doing things like is an honorable, upstanding citizen? Must be that guy. And then the other thing is, like, if there are two people who are very well suited to expressing the outrage on behalf of the audience, it's Joe Galley, who gets picked on by Strictly Business all the time,
Yeah.
and Tim Storm, who can no longer challenge for the NWA World Champion because of what stuff that Nick Aldis did. So that, I think, was very well done, and it kind of allowed the pay-per-view to end on a good note. Even though the babyface loses, even though you see, like, you're like, oh, what is going to happen to him? Like, you're just left with a state of more confusion than anything else. Just that sense of this can't be how it ends, and in the idea that this is just another part of the overall story that they're going to be telling. It's something to look forward to, and I know that I'll be talking a little bit more about it on this week's Dark Power, but we do know that in August we are getting our NWA anniversary show. I have a feeling that Trevor Murdoch will get his rematch sometime between now and that anniversary show, and I feel as though Pope, who the way the TV title works is if you defend it, if you retain it, so you can do disqualification countouts. Go towards this number. But if you retain it after 7 matches, you have the option to vacate the title and challenge the world champion. And that's part of the reason why I thought that this was going to be a TV title match, because at the time, Pope is at, I think, four successful retentions. So I have a feeling they're going to give him a couple more while we do the Murdoch bit, and then he will be the one who challenges at that anniversary show against Nick Aldis. But Ness, let's do some MVPs and LVPs and give our total numbers for this show. I think this is tough, because my MVP, I want to give it to JTG, but I also want to give it to Serena Deeb. So I'm gonna go with Serena Deeb on this one. How about you?
My MVP, I don't even know if I should even give him the MVP because how shitty that match was, and it wasn't even his fault. I'm gonna give it to. I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna give it to the Pope, man, because he sold his ass off for Tyrus, and he tried his ultimate best to make this guy look good and to make this match much better than what it was. So I'll give him the MVP for his efforts.
I feel like with that being said, we are going to be simpatico on who is our LVP.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think I speak for both of us when I say that it is Tyrus.
Oh yeah.
Tyrus, we are tired of you, sir. You need to stop what you're doing. Like, if Ryback can put that "where should I go next" and keep being told he needs to retire thing on Twitter, Tyrus, I don't think you need to bother with that Twitter poll. You should just, like,
yeah.
You can't be huffing and puffing on your way to the ring. Like, that's not going to work. Especially when the curtain is here and the ring is here. Like,
literally.
It doesn't.
Literally.
I don't know what else can be said. But match of the night, I'm gonna go with Rosser and JTG for this one. What about you?
I'm gonna go with JTG versus Trevor Rosser as well.
And let's go. I think total on the whole, I give this pay-per-view, maybe like a 6.5, 6.8, I think. How about you?
I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a solid 7. Aside from the Tyrus match, I'm just gonna say Tyrus because Pope did his thing. I'm not even gonna penalize him for this. And then again, with the clunkiness of the finish, not really knowing where they were going with it. Overall, it was a good show. It was better than what I was expecting. Because from hearing how the finish was in the main event, not even knowing that Tyrus was going to be on the show, once I actually watched the whole thing, I said, "Oh, it's not that bad." So
that's true. That's true. I got to say, a lot of people were maligning it on Twitter. They were really coming down pretty heavy on this one, and I don't think it deserved the level of hatred that it got. I agree with you. It's a little confusing as to what exactly is going on, because you're like, wait a minute, why would the ref think that Murdoch hit him? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But I don't know if it deserves how much flack it got on Twitter. But speaking of Twitter and speaking of social media, Ness, tell the people where they can find you, sir.
You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at skinny__Kravitz. Catch me right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, one half of Fusion of Honor with my man, the StatKing, the man of 1,004 numbers, where we review MLW Fusion and Ring of Honor. You can also catch me on Blunt Impact and Joyce and Jabronis with Chris G. You can also catch me on NX3 with, once again, Chris G and Romeo Anthony Colon, where we review NXT. I'm the Roundtable Rebel. Catch me on the Roundtables. And as always, you can hear my illustrious voice on True Toxicity.
And guys, you can catch me on Dark Power. This is a Dark Power special, but as always, on a regular Dark Power, we cover AEW Dark, AEW Elevation, and the NWA. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Ness, thank you for joining me on this one.
No problem.
I really appreciate it. We had that was the other thing. This entire pay-per-view had a carnival clown theme with no clowns or carnivals, nothing. There was no set, like nothing. It just
there was Joe Galley, his tie. He had clowns on the tie. I mean, that's
an attention to detail.
I'm just taking what I can get. And then the one announcer guy, he was dressed like a ringmaster. Other than that, the only clowns on this card was fucking tires.
Billy, you gotta do better. You gotta do better if you're gonna have a themed pay-per-view in that regard. But guys, thank you once again for tuning in. Make sure you hit that comment button, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, I will catch you later. On behalf of myself, on behalf of the three-time baby-making champ, Ness, thank you guys. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Peace.